Alright, now that we have everything popped out and we have removed the foam from inside of these trenches, channels, we're going to start hot gluing. I'm going to begin with the edge that does not have an overhanging piece of paper like this one over here does, the large fuselage side towards me. I'm going to take my hot glue gun and I'm going to put glue down through the channel, but I'm going to put it along the sides, and I'm going to stop right here where it starts to spread out. So I begin. I want to have as consistent a squeeze as I can. I'm not really botching this up on camera. And try and get even glue all along that edge, and come back and put it down both sides of the trench. And then add a glue stick here. You want to put your glue down both sides. You don't want to fill it up with a ton of glue. Just want to kind of put enough on the edges, because you're actually going to be gluing to the edges and not the middle. Once that's there, you're going to fold the side up and push it down and in against the table, and you hold it for about 45 seconds, which is about as long as it takes to sing I Am Your Sunshine. So it goes like this. I am your sunshine. Actually, I guess it goes, you are my sunshine. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. And after that, it should be about right. You should have that in your head the rest of the day. But about that long it takes while you're pressing and holding, and now you have a pretty sturdy glue joint. Now we're going to come back down in here. We're going to put just on this tail side, we're going to put glue on that flap and tray edge. Kind of smother it down there on that flap and on the edge. And we're going to push this back wing over and in, being careful with your fingers in the back. But I'm pushing that tail in and pushing down to give it that angled back tail part. So from the back, I'm pushing along with my thumbs nice and wide, trying to make sure I get even pressure all along there, and singing and humming in my head. Please don't take my sunshine away. Alright, after your 45-second song, that edge is done. Now we're going to come back to the second trough and repeat the same process essentially. Get my glue gun ready here. I'm going to squeeze out as best I can an even line of glue all the way to the separation point. Put a second line of glue on the other side, and then I'm going to, now for this one, I'm going to take the side and pull it towards me, because I want to make sure that both of these sides are down next to the centerpiece. So I'm going to pull it, press down, and press in with my fingers, just like that. Kind of keep my fingers nice and wide. I'm pressing with these fingers in and pressing down with my hands. And sing your little song. Alright, once that has set for 45 seconds or so, I'm going to take my glue gun and again down inside here, I'm going to lay a bead of glue on that strip of paper and the inside edge of the tail. And just like before, I'm going to push that closed, push it top and bottom of that tail and down. Okay, trying to keep 45 or 90-degree angles along the edges as much as possible. The more square and rectangular your plane is, the better it will fly. Okay, maybe hold this one for an extra little hum, because it's trying to kick back out into shape. You can hum it as well, you don't have to sing it. But keeping track of time is important. 45 seconds or so. Alright, and then for the final, I'm going to put it along the inside and go all the way down to the end this time. And I'm going to come back and put it on the outside. So I'm going to fold this over and push the whole thing down against the table. Pushing against the table keeps you from having hot glue squeeze out onto your fingers, which is not super pleasant. I'm going to load up both sides of this edge all the way down to the tail. This one you want to go kind of quick, because you're going to run out of, the hot glue is going to start to dry. And also, you can actually burn yourself through the paper edge. Alright, so I'm going to, again like before, fold it over, push down, I'm going to rock it back to try and catch the tail, push it down in the center, trying to make sure I keep it nice and square here with my hands, try and make a nice rectangle. Push it again in the back and rock it down, rock it forward. Get that glue nice and dry and set. All right. All right, this happens to be one of the versions that already has the nose curve on it. If you have the other one and you have that other piece, for the nose, you would glue it in the troughs just like we did this one. Fold them up on the sides, and then you're going to glue inside of the edges here and here on either side and slide that nose cone into the center, and it'll look something similar to this, probably just a little longer. All right, but you're going to glue that up as well, and yours will have that glue there. Interesting. All right. All right, and nice and rectangular here. Everything's in place. And now we're ready to move on to the wing. All right. So with the wing, again, in the last video, we cut a second red line a little away from the first to make a trough right here so that we can bend this over easily. And then to help out even further, I'm going to take the pair of scissors on the scissory end, the handle end, and I'm going to push down into that trough and just run those scissors along the edges of both sides of the trough. And what that does is it creates a bevel. It crushes the foam. Turn that around. Crushes the foam right along the edge, allowing the paper and the foam to fold along that even better. And that is going to create a curved leading edge of our wing. So maybe a little bit more crushing down here to get that shape I want. And that wing goes. I'm also going to crush straight down these long cut lines that were long red cut lines. Just gonna crush along through those all the way across. Be careful not to tear out the center here. All right, and that's going to allow the wing to bend during this next part of gluing, which will give me a little bit of a camber or a curve to the top and bottom of the wing. So later, when you're designing your other two wing types, how you do this part right here and how you fold this over, whether it is a really flat wing or a super curved wing, this is the part you'll determine that when you make another set of wings. All right, so I'm going to be folding this over and tilting it up a little bit to get a little bit of a curve to this, so I have my fingers can fit under here. I'm going to put glue down the center, a whole bunch of glue here, a little bit glue through here, and we'll come back and glue that back part at the end. All right, so make sure you have a good amount of glue stick because it takes a lot for this front edge. And first, squeeze out quickly a good bit of glue into that wedge, and then put quite a bit of glue, especially on the edges, quite a bit of glue on this flat piece, like that, and maybe a little bit of glue right down this center part. Okay, right through there. Okay, with that, we're going to fold this over and spread our fingers as wide as we can, pressing down all the way across, keeping the pressure going, and maybe give it a little bit of a curve. Like that. Put my thumbs underneath it, spread my fingers out, press down as wide as so I possibly can, and hum my little song. All right, when we've gotten done with that, this one should probably hold a little bit longer. Make sure that is good and tight. We don't want our wing to fall apart or pop open. Okay, that should be nice and tight. I'm also going to add a little glue there so that I can kind of give it a rock up. So on the back side of this piece, I'm going to squeeze a good amount of glue right up into the joint, the back side of my paper here. And I'm going to let that curl up a bit so I get a really nice, fairly large camber, curvature on this wing. Let that dry. See if I can get it to hold a little bit to that curve. It's not wanting to stay too well. This part may or may not work very well. Okay, but now when you look down the edge of that wing, you kind of start to see where it's going to have a curve to it. So I probably want to kind of roll it some, get that curve to sort of get in there, push in the center, and get that curvature going. So there we go. Now we have a curve you can sort of see better. All right, and that's your wing. This is the body of your airplane. The wing is going to fit on the top and will be rubber banded to the top. Okay, we'll put a nose cone and some weights in there. And the last thing for hot gluing right now on this video is to hot glue the tail pieces into place. All right, so the first one will be the tail of the plane with the ailerons. That would be these parts, which we'll cut in next. That's going to try and go straight and flat right here in the back on that notched groove. So I'm going to flip that over, load that notched groove area up with glue. Good bit of it. And then I'm going to take that tail and press it down as best I can. I want to get where I can see that the tail, I might need to trim some of the tail off. I did a really bad job at cutting it. But I want that tail to be nice and flat, horizontal to the side to side. I don't want it to be cockeyed. And I want it to be flat and centered with the center of the fuselage. So try and get it in place and then hold it down till the glue dries. See a place here that's opened up. Put that in there and just use a little hot glue in there. However, I don't want to push that with my finger because it's hot. Excuse me. I will turn it over and push it against the table. I'm going to rub it back and forth so it doesn't stick to the table, because there'll be a good bit of glue that has squeezed out of there. And just try and push that down a bit. All right, with the airplane in this aspect, we're going to come back and right in between here, we're going to just put 2 straight slices all the way through. And then on the back of them, we're going to just try and cut through them. You can do that with the utility knife. Once you have that, you can take a pair of scissors and sort of push it down until it pops down through. Okay, and that is going to give us a slot to glue our tail rudder in. So this part is the rudder. This part is the ailerons. The rudder helps the yaw of the plane, the turning left and right in a flat turn, as opposed to the pitch, which the rudder changes the pitch of the airplane. All right, slide that down into that groove we just cut. Try and make sure that it is straight up and down off the end of the plane. It'll fly a lot better if it is. And hold everything down till the glue is dry. All right, and there is the fuselage of your airplane with the tail and tail rudder and the ailerons and then what did I say, ailerons? Might have meant elevators. Ailerons might be on the back of the wings. All right, and then we'll be putting our wing on next, along with the front.